Can you hear that piano music? That's who I went to hear last night. Daniel Trifonov and Sergei, what's his name? Babayan. I hadn't heard of him before, but he was Trifonov's teacher. It was a two-piano concert, and it was brilliant. So somebody asked me. So, Pink Sally Productions, she asked, how do I decide what is my quilting design? It depends on the quilt. I mean, there's all kinds of possibilities. Of course, with the Kawandis, you don't quilt those, so there's not an issue there with the quilting, because they're assembled and quilted at the same time. So I think I said before that I was going to use the scallop design with this quilt. The reason is because since the pieces were from Eli Leon's collection, these Oakland quilters, lots of hand quilting, and scrap quilts basically made from old clothes. And when they quilted them, they very often quilted with this layered scallop design. That's why I'm using that on this. I've started using colored threads more too. It depends. Each quilt has its own opportunity. And then somebody asked the strangest question, where do I get my scraps? Well, you haven't been watching many of the videos, because all of these videos, it's all been about what I got from Eli Leon's collection. I've been talking a lot about that. So that's it. That's where I got these. But then, as I said, and I think number 7 here, day 7, I thanked Julie Silber because I went to her sale and I got some squares there. So maybe you just missed that. So Cathy S., she started binge watching my videos. I mean, it's surprising she could come up for air at all, since I have more than 1,000 videos on YouTube. Anyway, she asked if I made my own clothes. I used to. I don't so much anymore. I used to make my own clothes, and I was a concert artist, and so I did lots of touring and big formal concerts where you needed fancy gowns. And I made all those. In those days of Vogue patterns, they had a lot of patterns from major designers. Balenciaga, Oleg Cassini, all kinds of people made the patterns. So I always made my own concert clothes and all my other clothes. And I made clothes for my daughters. And because my mom made all our clothes, my sister and I. We were the best dressed kids in school. She made all kinds of beautiful clothes. And she also did tailoring. She made suits for herself. So it was kind of in the tradition. Now, the reason I'm working so hard on this quilt is because I have an event coming up in a couple of weeks. I want to make a new dress for that. But I'm not letting myself do that but I have to finish this first, right? So we put those rules on ourselves. Well, the reason I have to get this finished is because I have to be using this space for something else. And it takes up most of the room. So Pamela Nestor, hi Pamela. So she said I'd been inspiring her. She was going to bring out a quilt top she made some time ago and finally quilted. So, well, keep us posted, Pamela. Send us a picture of the top. Show us how you're doing it. We've got to keep real life going here. Somebody said, what's the greatest gift you ever got? A couple people asked me that, and Artylad, who's been with me for, 12 years on YouTube, commenting, hi Artylad, and his friend. Well, I mean, some of these questions I don't have any answers to. Now, if you'd ask me something specific, like my first whatever, kiss or whatever, it'd be easy to answer. But some general thing like, what is your favorite movie? What is your favorite this, favorite that? I've never been able to come up with answers to those things. The greatest gift I ever got, well, if I want to make it in some way sort of relative to what's happening here, it was from Yvonne Porcella. I never, the Italian always creeps in. She called it Porcella, but, you know, I always thought it ought to be Porcella, but I managed to train myself pretty much. Anyway, the gift she gave me, which changed my life, was she chose me to be one of, I don't know, maybe it was 25 or 30 quilters to make a quilt for Sakwa's silver anniversary, celebrating silver. And at that point, I don't think hardly anybody had heard of me as making quilts or anything, not much. And here I was chosen to be one of the special people to make a quilt. And I did, of course, and then it was in Houston. So that was the beginning of a whole new life, really. Life begins at 80. I had just turned 80. So I went there, and then that show, I just got the quilt back now. Maybe I'll put a picture of it up here. I just got the quilt back. It had been on the road all this time. It went all around the world. It was shown in Peking and in England and all kinds of places. So I consider that a gift. So, you want to see what's happening here?